First off, I need a motion to approve the minutes for the February 27th meeting. Dr. Blair, second by Member Bryant. Any additions or corrections? All right, all those in favor, please state aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. We'll move on to informational items. First, we have the Board of Health. Welcome, Monica.
Good afternoon. In your agenda packet is the minutes for two of our prior Board of Health meetings. Additionally, a couple of things just wanted to highlight. As part of a local health department, we conduct a community health needs assessment and improvement plan. We are required by state statute to do it every 5 years. We align with our two hospitals, OSF and Carl, to actually do it every 3 years. The process we're using is known as MAP, Mobilizing Action Through Planning and Partnership. And the MAP 2.0 release, we will be starting that process here actually in June, which kicks off with a large-scale community survey. We are working with different community members to add questions so that we're not doing survey fatigue. But part of it is that we do look at the various regions of our county so we can get more meaningful data to understand what health issues might be specific for one region but look different in another. So two examples would be in the past, we understood mental health or behavioral health to be a large issue in our community. However, when you were able to go into the level of detail by region, we found that depression was a much bigger issue in our urban center of Peoria, which was one region, compared to our northeastern part of our county, where it's actually anxiety. So kind of two different actual mental health needs with two different types of interventions. Similarly, obesity we found, while access to food was challenging, and again, some of our urban centers as well as our southern parts, so kind of thinking of Bartonville area, we saw that actually obesity rates were the highest in our northeast and northwest corners of our county. So again, it's making sure that interventions are targeted for those geographic areas and then using those environmental kind of consistent domains, whether it's transportation, access to resources, even internet, to make sure that it makes sense for what we're providing in those communities. So again, that survey will be released. We hope that you guys will be able to push it out to your constituents, as well as if you know of groups, meetings that our team members can attend to help educate. It's in multiple languages, as well as we have paper copies that we distribute and will collect. We know that not everyone is tech savvy, so that again gets kicked off here in June. Additionally, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC, provided the state of Illinois funding for workforce development. Through that funding, the state has started the process for public health workforce transformation. We had a kickoff meeting just last week in Springfield, where every local public health administrator, along with IDPH leadership and some of our associations, met to start the process for this. One of the first steps that will happen will be a capacity and cost study that we will be doing here over the summer to help understand what is the funding needed for our mandated services as outlined by state code. We are already a pilot program for another avenue of this grant, and that is working with the UIC School of Public Health for a Systems of Change Leadership Institute. All of our staff are a part of that, and that culminates with a intervention plan that our staff creates for work. The Health and Human Services project continues to go on. We're at the process currently of purchasing large equipment pieces for our dental, medical, and community kitchen, and hitting our, I believe, our 6-month mark coming up here this summer, which still seems that our moving in would be, still 6 months away. But from operationally, we will start educating our clients on where they need to come back for follow-up appointments in 6 months, and hopefully the answer is on 2116 Sheridan Road. And then just one more thing, we're really proud of our staff at the health department, and I would like to also acknowledge that includes one of our staff members that this Thursday will be celebrating 30 years at Peoria County. This gentleman had the illustrious job of actually giving me a chance, and so I'd like to thank Jason Marks for 30 years of service at Peoria City County Health Department. I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Congratulations, Jason. Does anybody have any questions for Monica?
Yeah, Fuzan Jason, great idea.
I thought Member Elsesser was buying. Are we working on rescheduling the tours that were canceled due to rain a couple weeks ago?
I think we're still working on the potential of that. I think the challenge right now is that, this board has made it very clear, as well as the Board of Health, that we really don't want to do anything that would create any delays in the timeline. And so I think is right now, I believe the roof is on and they're starting the drywalling process, which creates some interior challenges. So again, wanting to make sure that if we are doing the tours, it's not creating any challenges in the timeline. So I think that's what we still need to work through.
Agreed. All right, thank you. Care and treatment. Was there anything for care and treatment? No? Okay. EMA.
Good afternoon. I know I was delinquent in providing a recap this month, so I apologize regarding that. So you probably don't have anything in your notes, but I do have a few things here that I would have submitted. So specifically, last week we started to see severe weather. At least we had a couple, as far as significant events, we did have a couple phone calls with the weather service on some days. So as your emergency manager, I'm comfortable that severe weather doesn't actually happen when they forecast it. I'll tell you, though, it's been difficult the last couple of years to keep some of our severe weather spotters at bay because they're just dying for a good storm to go out on. So, but we'll take the forecast and then it not panning out for us. So our meeting attendance has pretty much been our standard meetings. Couple of things that I guess I'd like to highlight in here is I've been asked to participate with the state of Illinois on a emergency drinking water plan. So you may recall a few years ago they had an issue down in the Ren Lake area with a large-scale water distribution situation. So the state's looking to develop plans for how, in the event of a large-scale disaster, how we might distribute water. So I've been asked to serve on that committee with the state. I've actually had quite a bit of conversation with the Heart of Illinois United Way on some volunteer management things. We're going to look at some better ways maybe that as an agency we can utilize some of the resources the United Way has in their volunteer management system to assist us in our medical reserve corps, as well as we've initiated some conversations with the city of Peoria, the fire department, the police department, the sheriff's office on what's known as a CERT team, or a community emergency response team. So looking to just kind of tie in some of our collaborations on volunteer management. Additionally, started some discussions with the sanitary district. They reached out on some exercise that we're going to plan for some additional planning they'd like to start doing just to ensure critical infrastructure. Training-wise, we've initiated some CPR, AED, and first aid training in the community. So the first of those courses went on. We were able to receive some funding through our Medical Reserve Corps and NACHO to offer up this training. So we've identified, I think I've got 3 more dates, and we pushed it out to a large number of our community partners, from support service agencies such as like EPIC, Advocates for Access, our shelters, a number of other support agencies that we rely on to provide us support. Try to encourage their staff to get trained in CPR and first aid and help cover the cost of that for them. Exercises, I believe we completed on March 22nd. We were talking about our active assailant exercise, so we did host that at Dunlap High School. We've had our after action report and identified some activities that we're going to improve on. One of those things that came out of that is, with some of our funding, we're beginning to put together some EMS trauma bags that we're going to be able to distribute to the schools and to some other individuals that, in the event we have a mass casualty incident, we've got some supplies on hand: tourniquets, gauze, appropriate things of that nature. Equipment-wise, our sirens are going well. We had to replace some batteries, but other than that, our sirens we're ready for severe weather. At least the siren system is. Outreach, we've done some severe weather outreach, some radio interviews, just some standard outreach stuff for us. I was selected, so this week I participated with the Storm Prediction Center out of Oklahoma. They do annually. They're always looking at improving their information they provide to emergency managers. So I've been able to participate the last couple of years in what they call a test bed, where they provide us some of the products that they're looking at using and then how they might benefit us. And finally, we have an open position in our program. Our emergency preparedness planner, Jill Stowe, took a position, left the agency, and so I've had some discussions with Monica. My initial thoughts were just to try to fill the position, but we're looking at maybe rewriting the job description, specifically as a result of the job description was written before COVID. A number of things have changed. There's some activities or some things I'd like to look at within the program, specifically moving forward, either be on the technology side and how we can leverage some of the technology changes over the last several years and improving our ability. And the other area I've had a lot of discussions with some of my partners with is the other option is potentially looking at more some behavioral health socio scientists to participate in the program, because a lot of what we're trying to do in emergency management is change behaviors. And so we're looking at maybe if there's an opportunity to get somebody with some of those skills or expertise to help us in the programs. That's EMA, and thank you for 30 years. It won't be another 30, but hopefully at least another 5.
Well, thank you for 30 years. Appreciate it. Does anybody have any questions for Jason? All right, thank you. Next, we have the Regional Office of Education. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am the luckiest elected official in the building with the budget you provide me. I have the single best administrative assistant professionals, I would argue, in the entire building. And if you know, tomorrow, if you're paying attention to your calendar, is assistant professional day, aka Secretary's Day. So when you leave, just lean over my counter over there and just tell them they're awesome, because they are. And getting them some treats, some little things for this week is the least that we can do. But I mean, let's just be honest, they carry me, specifically George. Okay, so Admin Professionals Day, the GMB got canceled today. So the spring celebration, we launched yesterday with an unbelievable kickoff of Jazz Day down at the Riverfront Museum, well attended by Chillicothe, Germantown Hills, and Dunlap. And we were supposed to be on the plaza today, but rain. So our website, springcelebration.org, make a plan, come down and see our kids, see what they can do, celebrate them doing wonderful, great things and showcasing their talents. Okay, beyond that, I provided you with an update. Some of the things that I wanted to highlight on here was, the teacher shortage report. If you would like to see that, it is on the Illinois Association of Regional School Superintendents website. I did several press engagements with that, with the local news about the teacher shortage. It's teacher shortage and teacher keepage, but it is real. And 90% of districts throughout the state of Illinois are a report if you want to dig in a little bit deeper. I also want to show you, there's so many different things. A new website dashboard. So Scott, if you will put that up there. So many of you know that we in this community have the Regional Workforce Alliance. That is a partnership between the local chamber and Greater Peoria Economic Development Council and ICC. I am the chair of the Emerging Workforce Alliance. That is working on all things K-12, pre-K-12 to get kids college and career ready. And this new dashboard is really extraordinary if you want to take a look at it. What it does is you can search 3 different things. You can search how many of your districts here in Peoria County are offering early college credit. You can search how many of your districts here in Peoria County have to offer remediation once the kids go on to college. And you can also look at post-secondary enrollment for high school, which is fascinating. So if you scroll down to Peoria County and just hover your mouse over Peoria County, you see your districts and you see the percentages. They are pulling that data from metadatabases throughout the state of kids enrollment. So you can see what's going on out there with your local school districts in Peoria County. And that's important information if you are trying to bring businesses to Peoria County. If you are trying to keep kids local and move back to Peoria County, that is really good information, and we are using that information on the Emerging Workforce Alliance to develop strategies and tactics when it comes to emerging workforce issues, internships, apprenticeships, job shadows. What are kids interested in? We are using that information. So I just wanted to show that to you. Do you have a question about it?
I love the report. The post-secondary education, that's the number of the students that have enrolled in a post-secondary education of some sort, right? If it's vocational, junior college, whatever. Do you have a data set that would say what was the completion rate? So if I'm a student and I enrolled in a vocational program, did I complete that
I'm laughing.
versus just enrolling? And then, and my premise of my question is sometimes a student will enroll in something and it's not a fit, which is okay, but do we help, do they get through what is a fit?
I'm laughing, Steve, because great minds think alike. And so that when I went to, so this is by the Success Network. It used to be called the 60 by 25 Network, that 60% of everyone living in Peoria County would have some type of credential by 2025. And that is not a college degree only. That is a certificate, a license, anything, IT, welding, you name it, that's 60%, because that's a family sustaining living wage if you have a post-secondary credential. So I went, they're now called the Success Network because we're almost to 2025. And so I went to their workshop this week, and that is the exact question. I said, okay, this is enrollment. Do we know if they stayed? And the answer is no. So that information then would need to come from your local institution. But getting them enrolled is half the battle. If any of you parents out there have filled out the FAFSA or the paperwork it takes to enroll your child in post-secondary, that's half the battle. So no, that is not completion. But this is a good place for us to start because districts can drill down into this and then they can look at their own data and look for gaps. What about males to females? What about the different groups that make up their high schools there? Do we have equal enrollment? What about kids with special needs? Are they enrolling? So they can use this data to make good decisions about what they offer at our local high schools. And then look at our workforce data. We need medical. We need medical. Are we offering that? Can our kids get CNAs while they're still in high school? So those kinds of things. It helps us make good decisions. And that's why I wanted to show that to you, because you can access that. It's really easy. You just Google Success Network dashboard and you go right to it. So I can provide you a link to that. But I just went to a workshop on that where we developed some strategies around that. What I will conclude with is our Truancy Advisory Board. This is something I have wanted for a long, long time, and I have just not had the staff to be able to dedicate the energy to getting this done. And with the position we've been able to fund through our City of Peoria Violence Prevention Grant, we hosted our first Truancy Advisory Board April 9th. And on that day, students from in Peoria County, no Peoria Public School students came this time. It was all from the county. And two of those students who had not been attending school, one attended 4 days in a row after that advisory board, and one attended 3 days in a row after that advisory board. And one of those students signed up for a mentor and had a meeting with the superintendent to talk about progress and what he needed for support. And I got to tell you, folks, I burst into tears. I even took a picture of myself crying and sent it to my staff. And I said, this is what we've been trying to do, is shine a light, laser focused on what does this family need. We are going to remove all the barriers and get you in that seat in the school. So far, so good. They're going to be meeting again, and we're going to establish a separate process for Peoria Public Schools at their wraparound center, so that the wraparound center is a part of that process. It's a small victory, but it is a big win for a process and building a system that could really make a difference. And in conjunction with that, I allowed them to purchase Airtable, which is going to allow for all of our schools to enter on the computer instead of handing over stacks of paper, and we can get instantaneous referrals and be able to act quickly before those absences start to add up. Other than that, on my submission this month, I put lots of dates that are coming up. If you are a parent, auntie, grandparent, friend, neighbor to a little one, there is lots to do in the next couple months. Specifically, PNC Worldwide Day of Play on May 11th. You absolutely should go. Take your kid. You get free books and all kinds of activities. Alpha Park is going to mirror that event over there in the Limestone area. That's going to be wonderful. Free books, getting kids signed up for summer reading. And then we are hosting a foster care event. If you are not aware, more than 53%, the graduation rate for kids experiencing foster care is 53%. So that's almost half of kids in care don't graduate. There are not any placements right now for kids that are teenagers. They need respite care. It's unbelievable the needs of kids experiencing foster care. They don't have good outcomes when they graduate from high school and get dropped from the system. So we are hosting a foster care event on May 30th just to inform people how to be foster care parents, what the system entails, how to support these kids, because that is a subgroup that needs some special attention. And I think that's everything. Any questions?
Any questions?
And thank you, Jason, for what they did at Dunlap High School. That was quite an event that they did out there around school safety. So we greatly appreciate that.
Great. Yeah, Brian, go ahead.
Well, it's not this committee's job to try to figure out why there's a teacher shortage, but when I was a kid in high school and college, there was a huge teacher shortage in Illinois, and it was because of pay. I mean, they only paid them I don't even know, a lot of you might know better than I, but it was like $15,000 a year. It wasn't very much, was it, Phil? Maybe more than that, but so pay's not a problem anymore. So what is the problem?
The report came to the conclusion that it's multifaceted. So the multiple issues is the tier 2 pension system. Those folks are now getting older, and they see that they have to teach until they're 67, and they don't think that they can do it. Post-COVID expectations, we keep piling more on the plate of a teacher, and we don't take anything off of the plate. And what always comes is accountability in terms of student behavior, parent behavior, all of the things that they have to encounter on a daily basis as someone that works in the school system. Sometimes it's school safety, sometimes it's mental health, and sometimes it is money. If they have a student loan and then they're trying to work on a teaching salary, it's hard. My daughter is a brand new teacher this year, first-year teacher. She's trying to pay her rent and her light bill and all of the different things, and it's been interesting to watch. She really struggles, and so sometimes it is the pay. It takes a while to work your way up to making the money that is a family-sustaining wage when you are teaching. So it is a lot of different factors all coming together at the same time.
Is this a problem nationwide, or is it just in Illinois? Or
it is nationwide. And in Illinois, it used to be more like Southern Illinois and rural communities, but now it is pretty much across the state.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have the sustainability report. Becca is off today. She's presenting at a conference, which I think is great when Peoria County employees are out presenting in their professions. But she did ask me to say she's been very busy with Earth Month. There's been a lot of activities. They're all listed on the website, and there's one remaining, which is this Friday. It's a business workshop, and you can register on the website. Next, we have the cool. Oh, sorry. Yes.
Scott, can you give us an update on the waste pickup contract, please?
Sure. For those members that are not aware, we obviously have a contract to pick up refuse, recycling, and landscape waste at all of our facilities. With the exception of the jail, most every facility is under a contract that we solicited when the city was last doing its RFP for hauling, and the board at that time awarded that contract to GFL. I'm sorry, PDC. Since GFL acquired PDC, we've seen not quite, but almost a doubling in the annual spend that comes out of the facilities budget to pay those bills. And that, right now, in terms of what's budgeted for in the current year across our facilities, that's going to be somewhere between $30,000 and $35,000. Not a significant number when you're looking at a $150 million budget, but when it's almost doubled in the last 4 or 5 years, well, then it's an outlier. Earlier this year, in looking at what those rising costs were, we made a decision to first try and work with GFL to see if we could get a resolution on better pricing. That did not work. And so we've chosen, and Becca's either putting the finishing touches on, or yet this week or yesterday, turned the RFP document over to the purchasing division and finance, and so we'll be going out for RFP for waste hauling, which includes garbage, recycling, and landscape waste pickup at our buildings and our facilities. When that bid comes back in, it'll come through Mr. Salzer's committee because it gets paid for out of the facilities budget. But we'll be happy to share what those results are with this committee.
Thank you for the question. Any other questions on sustainability that Scott can answer? Okay. All right. Now we have the quarterly strategic plan update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So in your packets, starting on page 21, you'll see the quarterly report for the strategic plan. As some of you have heard me say at other committee meetings earlier today and yesterday, we told you a couple months ago that we'd prepare this document, update it on a quarterly basis for each one of the 19 strategic action plan or goals that you have, keeping in mind that with 19, it's over a multi-year process, so some of them won't have any activity at this point in time. The good example of that is goal number 19, which is the community investment strategy. That is slated to start in the first quarter of next year. And so there's really nothing to report at this time, Mr. Chairman. On that item, it is also shared, that goal is also shared with the Public Safety and Justice Committee. So those of you that are on Public Safety and Justice, you're going to hear me say the same thing, in about, half hour, 45 minutes or so. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Yes, Member Hare.
Just a question as to where the master document is stored on my iPad.
So we've got it in the embedded in each one of the committee packets right now. It is not it's not a standalone document, but that would be an easier tool for the committee and the rest of the board. We'd be happy to put each quarterly update as a PDF on your iPad, say in a separate folder or something. Happy to do that.
I was more directed at the document that came out of the strategic planning process.
That's a great question, Mr. Hare. I don't know if it is on your iPad somewhere, but tell you what we'll do. We'll create a place on your iPad and put that document plus each quarter report in that folder as well, all right?
Right next to the ARPA document.
We'll see what we can do.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. We are at a discussion item, and that is amending the county's citing ordinance for a change in landfill operator and expedited process to transfer citing approval.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I think as we've shared with the board previously, there's been an internal work group of staff that includes the state's attorney's office. It includes city staff and the city's corporation council. Also includes the landfill committee's contracted engineer. That we've been working for several months to try and resolve some issues that we have with GFL. As you're, I think, aware, Landfill 2, which is currently operated by Waste Management, is going to close this year. And Landfill 3 is not going to be ready to accept any waste. So we have a conundrum that we're going to have to resolve. And we've been trying to resolve that with GFL for the last several months. As we previously shared, the most recent issue does revolve around the Black Jewel Mine number 2. I think when we last communicated something to the board, we had indicated that the Illinois Department of Natural Resources was going to retain an independent consultant to do an investigation as to whether or not Black Jewel Mine number 2 does or does not exist within the footprint of landfill number 3. That analysis is complete. It included taking multiple soil borings, doing other analysis work, and also analyzing the extensive amount of data that was collected during the siting process for landfill 3. And the conclusions reached by IDNR and their independent consultant have confirmed that there is no mining subsidence or mine that needs to be of concern underneath the footprint of landfill 3. So that means that there would be no impingement whatsoever on the ability to construct and operate landfill 3 going forward. As we communicated as well on Friday of last week, and as you had previously authorized the state's attorney's office to do, the state's attorney's office on behalf of the landfill committee, the city and the county sent the breach of contract notice to GFL, and this is obviously after repeated attempts to try and get GFL to try and move forward. That notification that was sent on Friday is the first of many actions that are going to need to be first considered and then taken in the coming days, weeks, and months. Starting with Landfill Committee tomorrow. And Ms. Williams sits on Landfill Committee on behalf of the board. So tomorrow, Landfill Committee has on their agenda and is going to consider an amendment to our agreement with Waste Management on landfill number 2. And if that passes out of the Landfill Committee, it'll have to come back to the full board through this committee and City Council. That amendment will waive Waste Management's requirement to make the annual payment to the city, the county, and the landfill committee for the minimum waste levels. In exchange for that, Waste Management is going to ideally get some additional life to landfill 2 to sometime later next year. Next, Landfill Committee will consider an amendment to Foth Engineering's contract that would be for the purposes of investigating and starting to design a transfer station at the landfill, potential expansion of landfill number 1, which has been closed for roughly 30 years, and also a new siting for landfill 3. Obviously, a contract amendment like that is going to require an amendment, both budgetarily and operationally. So the third item on the Landfill Committee agenda tomorrow is the financial component tied to amending Foth Engineering's contract. If that passes out of Landfill Committee, then again, the City Council and the County Board will need to vote on that as well, because it's a budgetary amendment and the two bodies can have oversight of the Landfill Committee's budget. Tonight at City Council, there will be, under new business, a similar briefing to the council, and then at their next council meeting at the end of the month, they will ideally vote on and approve the items that were undertaken by Landfill Committee tomorrow. Also tonight at City Council, we expect that the city manager will give public notice that the city will not be exercising GFL's current hauling contract. They have an extension in that contract that the contract ends in June of next year. The notice to extension has to be filed by the end of this calendar year. The city council is going to give that notice now versus waiting till the end of the year. And then from a county board's perspective, we've kind of already outlined the items that are coming through landfill committee, but more importantly, and as was noticed on the agenda, is Chapter 7.5 of the Peoria County Code is the environmental protection chapter of our code, and embedded in that is the process for citing any pollution control facility. That could be a transfer station, that could be a landfill. It also, at one point in time, was a hazardous waste landfill. And that process is largely and almost entirely dictated by the Illinois Environmental Protection Act. What we do need to do, though, is we need to amend our local ordinance to create a process that is already allowed for in the state statutes, but gives some autonomy to the local siting authority as to how that might work. And that is the transfer of the siting approval from the entity that was originally granted to another entity. So in the case of Landfill 3, the City County Landfill Committee awarded a contract to then PDC, now GFL, to be the operator of Landfill 3. They hold the construction permit with the Illinois EPA. Once constructed, they would presumably hold the operating permit as well. Situations arise, such as the one that we're in right now, where that approval may need to be transferred to a different third party. And we need to create a process within our ordinances to allow for that to happen. And that's what Jenny and I have been working on over the last several days to try and draft what those amendments might look like. A couple of other issues that are hanging out there that we want to just keep the committee informed of, mostly because we anticipate a couple of these questions. For those of you that might be concerned about the free load policy as it would relate to the potential increase in refuse and litter in state, county, and township road ditches. The plan that we're working on would result in the free load policy being unimpacted whatsoever. So that would continue as it has been for many years. Second, under the intergovernmental agreement with the city that created the landfill committee, all three entities get some revenues when the landfill is operating. But at any time, if there's a shortfall, then the city and the county have to mutually agree to fund the landfill committee's operations. Once landfill 2 closes, and even if the landfill committee, the city council, and the county board approve the amendment with waste management, come January, revenues from landfill 2 will cease and dry up. So we do have a plan in place that will be reflected in the FY25 budget for us that will accommodate and account for what those shortfalls are anticipated to be for the next, whatever the time frame is between when landfill closes and when we can get a solution available and up and running. And then just statutorily, we also have a mandate to continue having the Sustainability and Resource Conservation Department and the Solid Waste Management Fund, which does have healthy reserves right now. But as we talked about in county operations, even though there is budgetary authority to add a position in the department this year, we're going to continue to hold that position vacant and not fill that position. Next steps. Ideally, GFL responds to the notice of breach, and hopefully we get a resolution. But I think at the staff level, we prepared, and part of my comments to you today are to prepare you to follow through with alternate options if we don't receive any resolution with GFL. And also to prepare ourselves that, in Jenny's words, litigation is all but inevitable. I think I've covered most everything. I'll actually turn it over to Jenny to see if there's anything she wanted to add.
No, thank you. I think you covered it. I would just add that to date, the strategy of GFL appears to just be delay and stall, and so we will probably be asking you all for some special meetings or meetings before county boards to continue to keep things moving along, since we do have committee and city council and county board votes that will be required. So just to give that heads up, because we'll be trying to keep things moving forward, that there might be some extra meetings. And I'm happy to, I've had one-on-one conversations with people, and happy to do that if you have specific litigation questions.
Thank you both. There's a lot of history with and information with the landfill, and I would encourage everybody to reach out if you have questions to either Scott or Sharon or Jenny prior to our next meeting. We probably will have to have a special meeting prior to the next board meeting, potentially an executive closed session if there are some questions that have to do with litigation. Those can't be in public forum, but we'll get you all the information that you need so that you can make a right decision on this. Does anybody have any questions at the moment? Yes, Member Blair.
I just want to make this on the record for our people listening, but GFL has not responded to the letter sent out on Friday, nor have they responded prior in any kind of informal conversations.
There have been many letters, and they've responded to previous letters, but the notice on Friday, no, we haven't received. I do have a voicemail from an attorney, but I don't, there has been no discussion and no formal response.
Yes, Member Williams.
I believe they have 15 days to respond. Is that correct? No?
No deadline to respond. We just have to give 15 days, give them notice that we believe they're in breach of contract at least 15 days before filing a lawsuit. So we would just anticipate, we gave that notice and anticipate that we'll file the lawsuit then accordingly. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Member Alsasser.
Is there anyone within our organization that ever is able to converse with them over the phone, or they just don't even answer the phone? Or?
Oh, there have been lots of communications back and forth. Nothing about the legal letters that have gone out, which I thought was the question. The legal letters that have gone out, there have been responses, but not to the one from Friday. But no, there have been a lot of back and forth conversations.
Are they having financial difficulties, or is that a question you maybe don't want to answer in the public? Or maybe we don't even know.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thank you. Next, we have public comment. Anybody have a public comment? All right, miscellaneous. Do we have anything for miscellaneous? I'd like to say I'm super happy that I think we have 15 of the 18 board members who have committed to the Wellness and Fitness Challenge. We do have a few that still have zeros on the tally board. I won't call you out right now, but we'll have a discussion after. I do see lots of water bottles here today, and I know that's one of the challenges. So congratulations to those. I see some. I know Member Duncan is tearing it up. Yes. I know Member Hare. I see a lot of points on your board too. So keep it up, everybody. Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.